What is up, YouTube gangsters? If you're a K-pop fan and you run into this video, just don't get mad at me. Take it out on the like button. This is all the like button's fault, so smash that like button. When it comes to K-pop, I've listened to a few songs here and there. It's not really my type of music, but I don't really have a problem with it. I don't even think it's bad. It's just really not my type of music that I would listen to. But the biggest problem with it, it's obviously not the music itself. Nobody really has that big of a problem with the music. It's something that's just really, really toxic, and that's the fan base. I'm not gonna lie, K-pop fans are probably the most hated group of people on the internet. And yeah, it's not all of them, I'll admit that. Some of them are alright, as they've told me before, but there's a good portion of them out there that are just crazy nut jobs that shouldn't even be on the internet, to be honest. If any of you have Twitter, I'm sure you've noticed this, where someone will post something about basically anything, and then a K-pop stan will post what's called their fan cams. It's basically a video of concert footage where their K-pop artist or group of artists are dancing, and they will just spam this everywhere, and it just gets so annoying, and it's really toxic, but it's actually common practice for them. And I got to thinking, why are K-pop stans like this? There's a lot of toxic fan bases out there, but K-pop stans are obviously on another level. So I had to dig around to try and find this, and I've come to the conclusion, and this is where K-pop fans are probably really gonna hate me. They're victims. K-pop stans are victims. And what do I mean by this? Well, let me go into further detail. Whenever I went and listened to K-pop, while I don't think the music is bad, there was obviously something off, something that was just bothering me, but I didn't know what it was specifically, but now I've realized it. K-pop is just way too artificial. If you ever watch K-pop music videos, the colorful hair, the crazy dancing, all of it just feels, I don't know, it just feels like, it feels off. I'm sure all of the artists are good people, but there's clearly a corporate entity behind all of this. There's clearly a huge corporate entity behind all of K-pop, and it's so obvious. While that could be said for Western music as well, but there's a huge difference, and I'm gonna explain that. Usually in America, an artist will start from the bottom. They'll put out music, nobody will really make about it, but they'll grind and they'll grind and they'll grind until they actually make it, or they have a breakout song or something, and then they'll get signed, and then that's when they become kind of corporate. But there was still that independence that happened way earlier in the beginning when they were struggling on their own. But K-pop doesn't feel like it has that at all. And to make things worse, it feels like K-pop groups have this very copy and paste vibe to them. And before all of you call me racist, I'm not saying they all look the same. I'm just saying the style of music videos, the way they carry themselves, it just all feels like copy and paste material. I'm sure that the artists are talented people, but think about it. They can all dance, they're all multi-talented, they all have colorful hair, the way they carry themselves, it's all way too corporate. It's all designed that way. Do you really think they all happen to be attractive just because they just so happen to be and just said, hey guys, let's get together and be in a group? No, there's clearly a corporate entity that runs through K-pop, and they have a formula, and that formula is working, so they're just gonna keep copying and pasting stuff over and over again because it's working. Why wouldn't they? And why does that formula work in K-pop but it doesn't work in Western music? What is the difference? I'm sure a lot of you know about Billie Eilish. She has this emo-ish crazy girl type of vibes, and she kind of used that as part of her success. Now, if you were to take someone that was exactly like that, someone else, and you were to just promote their music, would they become as big? No, because it's already been done. People don't want to see the same thing be done 2 times. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work in America. But somehow K-pop manages to do this over and over again. How do they get away with it? What's the difference? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the fan base has been manipulated. The K-pop fan base is brainwashed. While usually most people, they can see through the whole corporate BS that's thrown at them when it comes to music, but K-pop fans are relatively young, so they're basically groomed into not being able to see through it. And even if they do see through it, they've already been groomed into worshiping these artists like gods. And I'm not kidding. They are worshipped. The K-pop artists that are really big are worshipped like gods to their fans. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if K-pop artists were scared, if not terrified, of their own fans. But they'll never actually speak out about it because they're under the umbrella of this corporate entity. And this goes back to me saying that K-pop is just way too artificial. The artists are like robots, like they have to maintain this perfect image for their fans, for everyone that watches them. So there's no like real personality that comes through. And I know K-pop fans are probably gonna hate me for saying that. But am I wrong though? Compared to Western artists, they express themselves way more than K-pop artists. K-pop artists, they're really under this umbrella where they have to keep the perfect possible image that they can. And they're not keeping this perfect image because they want to, it's because they have to. It comes with the job of being a K-pop artist. The industry behind K-pop is extremely brutal. Because the fans are under the impression that these artists are these perfect individuals who they just like love absolutely, the artists are not allowed to do stuff that regular artists would be allowed to do. I already touched on how they're not able to express themselves, but a lot of them are not able to do some more simple stuff. Like they can't even have IG pages, or some of them can't even have personal IG pages. It has to be linked to the record label in some way.
Sometimes I get emotional, got me still.
Here's another crazy thing. A lot of these K-pop artists are not allowed to publicly date anyone, and here's the reason why. These K-pop stans have been groomed into worshiping these artists like gods. So when you have this girl that comes into their lives and they're publicly dating them, it could create a lot of problems for the artist and the label. What if this girl isn't up to the standard of the fans? A lot of the fans think that this artist is specifically for them, and I am not lying about this. This is actually true. A K-pop artist whose name is Hana was dropped by her record label Kpop Entertainment after they found out that she was secretly dating another member of her group. This was a statement she put out after she got ousted. I don't know how enormous of a sin I've committed, but everything in my schedule has been canceled since September. They're making excuses and delaying things. My blood is drying up every day. I've been having a hard time waiting for these past 2 months. I've been kicked out of Kpop Entertainment without my consent, and my image has fallen. This came after Kpop Entertainment announced that they would be terminating their contracts, citing that they could not maintain trust with them. So to be blunt and simple, this is probably not just Kpop Entertainment that has some bizarre rules like this. It's probably the whole entire K-pop industry. They're not allowed to date, which is pretty crazy. So after hearing about all of this, the biggest problem with K-pop, it's not the fans, it's the corporate entity that umbrellas the entire K-pop community. Without a doubt, that is the biggest problem. The fans are victims. They're victims to this brainwashing that has been going on constantly. Let us all hope that they can come out of this spell. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching.